Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Myself, not so much. Being a criminal player, ever since losing Desperado, Temujin, and even Account Siphon, how am I supposed to play criminal anymore? How am I supposed to make money? Well, here's how. This is Gang Sign. This is a card that allows you to access cards whenever the corporation scores an agenda. This is a good card because accessing agendas allows you to win the game. So yes, Gang Sign, this is the best criminal card in the game. And you can tell immediately because it is the only criminal card on the most wanted list. In fact, not only that, it is the only win condition on the restricted list. If you think about the restricted list, there are a bunch of other cards, some hate cards like Film Critic and Employee Strike, breakers like Inversificator, and flexible cards like Clone Chip. But when it comes to win conditions, none were banned except for Gang Sign. And also the infamous win button that is Magnum Opus, but we won't get into that today. Gang Sign is very powerful. As mentioned, you can steal agendas, but more importantly, you don't have to interact with ICE while doing so. This has some salient benefits. Not only do you need to worry less in the deck building stage, no longer do you need to spend lots of unnecessary deck slots packing breakers and stuff. The most important thing is you are actually taking away the run element from the equation of Netrunner. And this is very important. It makes the game more interesting and more fun for the runner as well, because previously when you had to make runs, you are susceptible to effects from the corporation, such as damage, such as tags, and these can be very oppressive. So not having to worry about these anymore is very liberating for the runner, and this is something we'll be exploring today. Above all of these, however, the most important reason to play Gang Sign is because it features card art by Adam S. Doyle, a very famous artist that, as you might know, also created card art for the likes of Eater, Medium, and Ormaquah. Very powerful cards in their own right. This obviously means that Gang Sign is just as powerful, if not more so, than the average power level. And if this is still not enough to convince you, here's a screenshot of the San Diego Snake draft that took place recently. This is post Core 2, post rotation, post ban list, and we can clearly see that Gang Sign is the 9th best card in the game, being picked so early on. Well, with all that settled, we now delve into deck building with Gang Sign. Gang Sign is powerful because we are in a post-Jackson world. Jackson's always one of the biggest problems, and it really makes the corp too powerful. But with him gone, Gang Sign can now roam free, because when agendas get drawn into the corporation's hand, where do they go? There's not that many places agendas that can run, and no matter where they run, a Gang Sign deck will always make sure those agendas go back to the runner. If the agendas stay in hand, they get stolen by Gang Sign. This is obvious. If the agendas land in the bin, all the runner needs to do is to run archives once to access them all. If the corporation fast advances their agendas, well, you can't stop them, but this triggers Leela, and this triggers Gang Sign as well, giving you a lot of making the corp lose a lot of tempo. And this is something you can exploit as a Gang Sign Leela deck. The biggest problem with Gang Sign decks is that they can't really contest slow advanced agendas that are placed in remotes, defended by multiple ice. Without icebreakers, how can you access these agendas? This is a problem we can conveniently solve with DDoS. This is the nuts, and whoever removed this from the most wanted list is crazy. Well, since it's off the most wanted list, I'm not gonna hold myself back. We are gonna play DDoS Gang Sign Leela. I know you're cringing right now, but this is amazing for two reasons. Firstly, DDoS combos with run-based criminal events. That's right, inside job and spearfishing. This allows you to siege a 2-deep ice remote without icebreakers, guaranteed. Unless your opponent's running guard, in which case, well played. This combo is nuts. Who cares about install advance? Without protective upgrades, it's gonna get stolen by the DDoS inside job combo. And if you have a protective upgrade, say Ash or a Batty, well, you get to go again if you have a second inside job, because DDoS lasts the entire turn. This is an incredibly powerful remote locking tool that will solve our problems of slow advance. Of course, this is not the most important point, as many of you would have noticed by now. The most important reason to play DDoS in gang sign Leela, and what makes it worth the 3 influence per pop, is the fact that DDoS is also illustrated by Adam S. Doyle. Haha! So yes, we have a theme deck right here, and we are going to go in on it. Here is the list I'm going to be playing today, and let's go through some of the cards that we are including in it. Fisk Investment Seminar. This card used to be rather bad. It's a card that you sometimes want to hold back, because if you Fisk into a Jackson for the corp can easily mitigate the hand flooding caused by Fisk Investment Seminar. But with Jackson out of the equation, by Jackson, Fisk is free to roam. Lovely, lovely, lovely. This is a card that can now be played much more aggressively, and that's good for a runner who wants to draw her deck. Speaking of Fisk, the choice between Fisk and Leela was a no-brainer, even though it seems like Laramie Fisk would be a perfect fit for this kind of deck. Ultimately, the tempo loss caused by Leela Patel is too much to give up. So much, in fact, that I don't even need the 1 influence rebirth. I don't even bother with it, because I know that Leela is almost always the best ID all the time. Next, we have Hacktivist Meeting. Now, it pains me to spend 2 influence per pop on this, but this is badly needed, because the one hard counter to this deck is none other than freaking scarcity of resources. I've been burned more than enough by that dumb card to know, to be ruined by it again. So a deck that is literally half resources, 22 out of 45 resources, needs a Hacktivist Meeting to counter the scarcity. I would run 3 if I could, but there are some more important cards. Hades Shard is very important to counter anyone who decides to stash all their agendas in the bin and then ice up archives like there's no tomorrow. So yeah, 2 Hacktivist Meetings solely for defeating scarcity of resources. Next, Rip Deal. Well, it goes without saying that a deck that's running 3 gang signs will also run 3 HQ interfaces, and since you're running the HQ interfaces, might as well go all in with the Rip Deal as well, which synergizes with additional HQ access. Rip Deal allows you to recur some cards that are normally not recurable. I'm looking at DDoS and Fisk Investment Seminar. This could be a very powerful late game closer to close in on your late game objectives. A lovely card. I think this is one of the few decks that actually want a Rip Deal. Next, again, another one of those cards which fits in a very specific niche of decks, and this is it. The Diana Chacon. Okay. The Diana Chacon is fits very well in this deck because you are usually poor. If you notice, the economy is very light, and for good reason. You do not need money if you're not running. Again, another good reason to play Gang Sign is that you can save on economy slots. No need to worry that you don't have access to manual opus because you don't need the money. So the Diana mostly is a free underworld context if you happen to draw it. Most of the time you'll be in the 1 to 5 credit range, so the Diana will fire off pretty frequently and give you the drip economy you need to install those expensive resources, especially the HQ interfaces. Those are expensive. And for your combo turns where you career fair out a DDoS and proceed to go ham on your opponent's centrals. You need that money. Not too much, but just enough for the game. We play 1 copy only because it is unique. Polyp. Just 1 copy as well. Even though we don't intend to make too many runs, we still need the Polyp because there's 1 card that could cause a lot of problems for us, and that's none other than 1 Power Reclamation. If we can kill 1 Power, preventing the corporation from being able to bottom their agendas from HQ to R&D, that would be very important. So yep, that's basically this deck in a nutshell. Wanna watch in action? I can't wait myself. Today we are up against CI. Once again, we have to play the guessing game of what sort of CI this is. Except we don't! Who cares? This is an amazing matchup for Gang Sign Leela. Because if there's one thing CI decks hate, it's HQ multi-access. They have very little ice. You have a lot of HQ multi-access. This is going to end really well. Now, Even though my opponent gets a violet level going, I start with a street peddler, finding a same old thing and 2 events. Not ideal, but I have the key card, Supplier. In any Supplier deck, you always want to see Supplier early on. It's almost like a turn 1 Magnum Opus. It really gets your entire deck going. Again, a deck with 22 resources. Finding your resource installer is always a good thing. So we get daily cards off, and we continue drawing up. The cards in my hand are not terribly good, but what I'm really looking for here is the first HQ into Fisk. That will allow me to drop the sneak door and start laying waste to my opponent's hand. So, but first we'll get our economy going. Economy can be really scarce, so getting the 2 daily cards out should be very good. Now my opponent starts revealing the type of deck they're on. There's an MC Austerity, so I'm down to 3 clicks. So we'll keep drawing here, and I find a sure gamble. I'm gonna let the daily cards tick down before playing the gamble next turn. I also draw a Fisk investment. So my next turn is basically going to be Diesel Sure Gamble. Everyone's favorite Shaper turn 1 turn, except that it's not Diesel, it's Fisk investment. On my final click this turn, I took a credit before realizing that, oh wait, no, that was my last click. Stupid MC Austerity. Okay, I'm gonna install Gang Sign instead. Make use of that Supplier whenever I can. So, Gang Sign goes on Supplier, not gonna get a full discount, but that, I mean, yeah, because it's only 1 install cost, and it reduces cost by 2. Scarcity comes out, so that negates Suppliers plus minus 2 costs. So I get the Gang Sign out for its original cost, that's fine, and I don't have to worry about scarcity because I have Hacktivism in hand. So, but first, we have to do our 1-2 combo that we mentioned earlier. Leela loves 1-2 combos, and this is no exception. Fisk Investment Seminar draws into the second Fisk Investment Seminar. I'm feeling good about this. Let's play the Sure Gamble. Come on, no, don't draw. Yes, that's right, play the Sure Gamble. And Hacktivist gets rid of the scarcity. I can be very liberal with this Hacktivist because even if my opponent plays their second scarcity, I have a second Hacktivist to counter it. Also, I need to worry about the MC Austerity. My opponent can score a 5-3 the next coming turn, so I'm very concerned about that. I draw into my Spearfishing, and this allows me to bypass their 1 ice server to trash the MC Austerity. I know you don't really want to make runs as Neela Patel, but this is absolutely necessary. I'm not going to give my opponent a free 5-3, and it's pretty free because I have barely set up my HQ interface Gang Sign combo. I'm still quite a few cards short, so gotta get the Gang Sign going. Gang Signs and HQIs going before letting my opponent score agendas. So this is my second Gang Sign that's installed. I feel like there's a need to sneak door right now because I'm not drawing my HQ interfaces, so I'm just going to drop it and make a couple of runs. If I get an agenda here, I can bounce the ice on the remote and attack server 1, which could very well be the agenda I'm looking for. This was the main reason why I dropped the sneak door here. But alas, that was not meant to be. I hit a bunch of random cards, and my opponent reveals that it's a Jeeves in that remote. So, well, not the agenda I was hoping for, but doesn't matter. My opponent seals up archives, so that's the end of sneak dooring for me until I find a DDoS. That's the other amazing thing about DDoS. Corps can only play so many ice. There's always a server to attack with DDoS, unless they double ice every single server. So here comes DDoS, here comes Hades Shard. Hades Shard is not going to be useful this game because my opponent will probably never get to discard cards for the rest of this game. Against all other corps, however, the fact that they can discard agendas into the bin means that you want to have a way of accessing archives, and Hades Shard does that. Again, not relevant here, so it goes in the bin. Dirty Laundry is also irrelevant now that all servers are iced up. I draw into my third Fisk Investment Seminar, and you bet I'll be playing it soon. My opponent's starting to deck themselves. They're down to 10 cards in R&D. This is very important to take note of. Right, so my opponent gets a scoring remote going. It seems like they're reliant on having Jeeves up to score agendas. So let's Fisk here. And I find an inside job, that's good. I find a career fan to daily cast, that's good as well. Not exactly win condition cards though. I need HQ interfaces so that when my opponent does go for a score, I'm getting maximum mileage of my HQ accesses. So, daily cast hits the table, and I end my turn. Let's see if they attempt to score an agenda this turn. It's been a long time this game, and no one has scored anything yet. The Baltic label comes in. Double Baltic with Jeeves means that my opponent's scoring a 5-3. Good on them, but also good on me. Let's see how 2 accesses from Gang Sign will fare. Elective upgrade is scored. First access is a Project Vitruvius. I'll get to bounce something. This is a tricky decision. I have two leader bounces here, one from the steal and one from the score. So I could theoretically bounce both HQ ice, and this will allow me to run HQ a bunch of times to find more agendas. This seems pretty good considering that my opponent now has an elective upgrade squad and can potentially threaten win in 2 turns. So I bounce the inner ice of HQ, and I proceed with the second gang sign trigger, getting a Kronos project. Bounce the next ice on HQ, and I'll continue undoing the board state by bouncing the Jeeves ice as well. This will allow me to challenge the Jeeves, which could be crucial if I steal a lot of Vitruviuses. So it's now my turn. Okay, 2 options here. Either I go ham on HQ and very likely win the game because they have most of their agendas in hand, or I draw to try to find my HQ interface. There are 3 HQ interfaces in my deck of 20 cards. Doesn't seem very likely I'll draw it. So I'm just going to go with the HQ option. Now I have Rip Deal in my hand, and this is going to help me push my forward tempo. So watch what I'm doing here. A lesson for everyone. HQ run, wrap around. Alright. Another HQ run. Single access sucks. I'm not getting anything. A Cyberdex, I'm going to trash it so that I can increase the chances of finding an agenda on HQ. We see Turing. No agendas. I was really expecting 1 agenda there, but oh well. I'm still going to get my Rip Deal. A single Rip Deal is not that good, but I need the Fisk Investment Seminar here. My hope is if my opponent plays too slowly, I can deck them with Fisk. They're down to 5 cards actually in deck, so they need to win fast. If not, they'll never win. My opponent goes for the score. It's a Project Vitruvius. And I get to bounce. The DNA... Oh, sorry, I get a gang sign access, a DNA tracker, and Jeeves were accessed. Not agendas. Oh, this is very painful. Yeah, this is not a good situation for me. It feels like I'm getting cheated from this game because what I desperately needed, as I said at the start of the game, is strong multi-access on HQ, and I don't have it. This Fisk Investment Seminar did not draw me the HQ interfaces that I needed. So what am I to do here? I have to keep running HQ. I know that they very likely have the 3rd Vitruvius in hand, so I'm going to inside job R&D. This is mostly to see if I can deck them by stealing both agendas off the top of R&D or trashing the cards on R&D. That wasn't the case. I run HQ here, I do not find an agenda. This means I can't win this turn unless they're running Vanity Project. So I just drop my Earthrise here, and indeed they have the winning agenda. Well, what can I say? I blame this game on poor access luck and poor draw luck because I didn't draw any of my HQ interfaces at all. Definitely a fluke loss. I'm not satisfied with this. Let's engage in Hyperdrive. Game 2 coming up. This time we are up against Taylor Swift's Tenin. And once again, this is an incredibly favorable matchup for us in 2 ways. Firstly, we can bounce the advanced ice, I should say, so all the advancement effort has gone to waste. And secondly, obviously, since they're trying to fast advance, we can take advantage of that to bounce some ice and then pierce holes in their defenses. So we start with a godlike opening hand. You really can't ask for anything better than this. If there were any complaints from the previous game, they have been assuaged right here. Double gang sign, HQ interface, supplier opening. That is nuts. I can assemble that combo so quickly, and my opponent will have their agendas wiped from the hand every time they go in for a score. This is ridiculous. So yeah, even though I'm not running, even though I'm giving my opponent free reign on advancement counters with Tenin, in the end, I'm the one winning. So, over to my opponent's turn. Rude! Plebs like you do not appreciate the sheer beauty of memes. Memes. So my opponent spends the next turn drawing up, installing ice, ditching 2 cards into the bin. Now that bin is starting to get a little fishy, and given that it allows me to diffuse the ID ability, I might as well run the bin, making sure to keep 4 cards in hand, just in case of that sneaky Obokata protocol. I see a Breach Dome, gonna take some damage from that and a mill, but I get a Medical Breakthrough, bouncing the HQ Advanced Ice, and the Nisei Mark II, bouncing the R&D Advanced Ice. Boom! Like, boom! You got owned, son! Don't you dare ever question the power of gang sign there. Gang sign's presence scared the corp rather into trashing these cards into archives, and now I'm up 4 points to 0. Got a few bad from my opponent though. They must be agenda flooded to donate these 2 agendas, especially the Nisei. The medical breakthrough I can still understand. Activating the 3-2 med breakthrough is pretty good. Nisei on the other hand, that's, yeah, not very good. So you definitely want to score that as the corp. Now, I'm going to continue on my turn. One thing I need to take note of right here is respecting Obokata from the corp. They still haven't shown me their restricted card, and given that there's a Breach Dome in the bin, there's a good chance it's Obokata. I need to keep myself on 4 cards in hand at the end of every turn, so that if they do go in for a score on the fast advance agenda, I can then steal an Obokata. I cannot give them the opportunity to score an agenda and then have me not be able to steal an Obokata while I access it. That's like giving the corp a free scoring window. So he scored a Philotic here, and I'm like, oh, now I can't steal the Obokata. That's a problem. You cheeky git. That's a very smart agenda to score. Well, what if I hit a snare? Wouldn't that be hilarious? And of course, the freaking Obokata that I can't steal. Well played. Well played, good sir. And I continue on my accesses here. Swifty, if there wasn't bad blood between us, there is now. We are never ever getting back together. What did I do wrong? I was fooled. They told me Gang Sign was a good card. They told me accelerated beta tests and sentinel defense programs will be flying out of the corp's hand left, right, center. That didn't happen. I want my money back. Well, I guess I did not read the fine print, did I? It said to randomize your HQ accesses, and that means using randomizing aids, such as dice. I think, to perform better next time, I need to hone my skills by practicing more games of Rolly Dicey. I'll be off to practice. Thanks for watching and happy net running. I'll see you next time.